Hey, one more thing before you go. What happens when you get stuck babysitting those kids that have no place to go from a boarding school during Christmas?
And to make things even worse, you had the most hated and despised teacher in that boarding school as the one to babysit them.
So even though this is after Christmas, not very far after, but it's still after,
No.
we decided to watch a Golden Globe nominated movie with nominated actors that really was a heartwarming, funny, dramatic, and a reminder that we don't always know where somebody's come from in life to bring them to where they are today. In this Over the Teacup Sunday episode, we're reviewing the surprisingly wonderful movie called The Holdovers. I'm your host, Michael Herst. I'm here with my lovely wife and co-host, Diane.
Hello, happy Sunday.
Welcome to One More Thing Before You Go. Hi, Diane.
Hi, Michael.
We look forward to these Over the Teacup sessions, don't we?
Yes, because we watch a lot of TV and movies and then we get to talk about them.
We're going to talk about them. We always love talking about them. In this movie, I know I watched it when it got advertised, and I watched it and I thought, man, it's going to be kind of a cute movie. It had Paul Giamatti in it, and it looked pretty funny, but we had to wait till it came out on a streaming service that we were able to get a hold of it. And it showed up on Peacock, and I went, yes.
I thought it was on Netflix.
No, it's on
Is it
Peacock.
Peacock?
Yep,
Oh, okay.
Peacock.
All right.
Should I mark this as explicit because I'm saying Peacock? Let's tell everybody about The Holdovers.
Okay.
The Holdovers is a heartwarming comedy, drama, film directed by Alexander Payne. The movie is set in the early 70s, 71, at the prestigious Barton Academy, where a few students have to stay over during Christmas break. The story revolves around a brutal professor named Paul Hunham, played by Paul Giamatti, who's generally disliked by his students and staff. We found that out very quickly.
Yeah.
And is assigned to keep an eye on the students who stay over during the break. Through a series of events, the holdovers end up pretty much being just Paul and a student named Angus, as well as the head cook, Mary. And the lady that plays Mary, she was nominated and won the Golden
Yep, she
Globe.
won.
And
Hmm.
then Paul Giamatti was nominated. The movie was nominated, which I'll tell you, I mean, a whole bunch of things. This came out of a film festival in Telluride back in our old home state.
Yes.
But
Colorado.
so
Hmm.
we're still proud of that. But I thought, I mean, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was really good. It was
Oh,
heartwarming.
yeah,
Well, I won't say I cried, but you cried. I watched you cry.
I did. I cried.
I had allergies.
Okay.
Had some
All
dust
right.
blowing around. We turned the heater on. It
Yeah,
was
so
blowing
there was
dust
dust.
around.
Yeah. I cried. Yeah,
Uh,
it was good. It's
it,
making me cry now.
it
No,
was good.
it was good and had some really funny moments in it as well.
Well,
So,
fun and dramatic. I mean, it's a comedy, but it's a dramedy, I guess, because there are
yeah,
some very poignant things that they discussed during this movie that I think that need to be
hmm,
brought to light. And also because
yeah,
the fact that it took place in like 1970, 1971.
hmm,
I grew up during that time period, and the I don't want to give anything away because a lot of you may have already
I
seen
know.
this movie, but I know it just got released to streaming. So those of you that have not seen it because it just got released to streaming, I don't want to give too much.
Hmm.
But things were done differently than they are today in
Yeah,
regard to certain aspects of life that we have
yeah,
challenges with. So
yeah.
they handled it pretty well.
There was you'll see a lot of
Oh
smoking of
yeah,
cigarettes in places that we haven't, that hasn't been allowed for a long time.
chain
I
smoking.
mean, yeah, which is good that they're not allowed anymore in these places. But yeah, I think they got the times very right. I mean,
They really did. I mean, I grew
yeah,
up in a chain smoking. Well, I won't say chain. Well, yeah, pretty much. My
mm,
parents, my grandparents, my uncles, my aunts, they
yeah,
all just
everybody
smoked
smoked. Yeah,
constantly.
yeah.
So yeah, I grew up in that environment.
Okay.
The Holdovers premiered at the 50th Telluride Film Festival on August 31st, 2023. It was released in the United States by Focused Features On October 27th, 2023, it received positive reviews and has grossed about $21 million so far. It was
Hmm.
named one of the top 10 films of the 2023 by the National Board of Review and the American Film Institute, and then received many other accolades, including awards at again, the 81st Annual Golden Globes for Best
Hmm.
Supporting Actress, Best Actor in a Motion Picture Musical. I got tongue tied there. Musical or comedy. And it, I think that well deserved. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, of the other
definitely.
movies that we've seen, they deserve them as well. But this, definitely not seeing the movie and then seeing it after they got the awards, I can see why
Yeah,
that they won.
yeah. I can too. It was and why they were nominated at all. Um, yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite movies I think that I've seen in the last few months,
It's
for
pretty,
sure.
yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it was
Yeah,
really good.
it's a good movie.
I'll tell a bit more about it. The movie's about three people in specific. I mean, it starts with what, five kids or six kids?
Uh, five, five
Five
kids.
kids. But then it ends up
That's
with
the
these three
holdovers.
people with very distinct chapter breaks in their lives, but each will influence each other in a very heartwarming and genuine way. And, I think that the way that they brought that together with
Hmm.
everybody, I think that it showed, at least even from the 70s, because
Hmm.
Mary's an African American woman. I know that it brought to my attention growing up in that arena. There was still the racial divides that there were in the country, but in this particular film, that was dealt with very eloquently, I think. And
Yeah, they didn't show it didn't show it wasn't real blatant. There were a few instances of it,
yeah,
but for the most part, everybody was equal, and which made it much more
much more enjoyable.
enjoyable to watch.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it really is. It's pretty cool, actually. And it also talks about how our lives, and when a stranger comes into our lives, it can put us in a new direction that we hadn't really considered, and
Yeah,
how they come long after we're done adjusting.
yeah.
It's also about the unpredictability of life, I think, and how it can change in an instant. We talk
Hmm.
about, in one more thing before you go, how life can change in an instant.
Hmm.
And I've had so many conversations about the fact that life can change in an instant. And
Hmm.
I think within this movie, it did a really good job about showing the adaptation of that change, because it could have gone a completely different way. I mean, there's a
Yeah,
lot of the, when you really look at this, you might have flashbacks of. I mean, Paul Giamatti plays a really hard ass teacher.
yeah, he does.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's a hard
Hmm.
ass. He's
Hmm.
despised by the students. He's hated,
Hmm.
during this time period. And I'm not giving anything away because you see it right off the bat. I mean,
You
right
see, well, I
in
see it in the trailer.
you,
It's on the trailer.
yeah, you
Yeah,
see it in the trailer, and then you see it
yeah.
right in the beginning of the movie. It comes right about. You get
Hmm.
to see it, and at the
Yeah.
same time, you kind of see where he also is not necessarily the most popular teacher on staff either,
No.
or professor
Yeah.
adjunct or.
He's definitely uh he's a loner. He's a lone guy.
Well, what I
And yeah.
I know it dealt with five different, the other five different kids, but it primarily ended up really cloning in on, Angus and Mary. Angus is, I forget the kids' names, but Angus is the
And
main kid,
I
and
think it's
then
Dom.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
Well, I think it's either his first name or last name is Dominic, but I can't remember.
it's a
He's
Dominic
really
Sessa.
good.
Yeah, his name is
Yeah,
Dominic Sessa.
Sessa. He's
Uh,
really good. He's really
he,
good.
he plays Angus, and Divine Joy or Divine. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, so
It's
forgive me again.
Divine
We had this
Divine
Divine Joe
Joy
Randolph. She
Joy
plays
Randolph.
Mary,
Hmm.
and you what you see is three different stories that
Hmm.
really have similarities, but in different ways, in
Hmm.
how they're intertwined enough that they kind of become their own little family.
Yeah. No,
Which I think
it's
is pretty.
yeah. I really like the way they unwound everybody's story, and I don't I don't it to do that where each character has their own story. I would think would be very difficult with the timing. It would. you have to be you have to unravel each story at a certain moment, and I think they did that perfectly.
I think they did as well, and the fact that the tension between both the professor and
Angus.
Angus. Paul Hunham is the name of the teacher. I was looking up the name
Yeah.
of the teacher really quick.
Professor
Between
Hunham, yeah.
Hunham and Angus are typical of a like a father son type.
It sort of grew into that.
Yeah, like I don't.
Yeah.
I'm like
And
I
at the
can do what you
beginning
tell
you
me.
would at the beginning you sure wouldn't really even think that they would go that direction, but it does. So,
Well, and at the same time, you also, what I like about this also, because again, I saw a lot of things that I touch upon in One More Thing Before You Go throughout the last 4 years, is that the
mhm,
weight of grief is also touched in this movie, and that the weight of grief can be devastating to somebody and very difficult to move on. But if you have the right opportunities with those around you to be able to overcome something, then
mhm,
it kind of makes it more genuine, and it can show you that life lessons and themes such as grief and the past, and family dynamics and so
mhm.
forth can really it can, although it may be a detriment in your life, but they can also be a benefit to teach you you know a different pathway,
How to move on.
how to move on. I mean,
Hmm.
some of the, it's again, I'm trying not to give it too much away in this, but
I know.
Angus has got a stepfather, and it took a while. You and I both have been very, very lucky to have a stepfather that we found that basically I have no issues calling Pop a father, because he,
Right.
blood, blood. It didn't have to be blood to be family with
Right.
Pearl, and it didn't have to be blood to be family with Danny.
Yeah.
Danny
Yeah.
treats you like his daughter, and
Then you, yeah.
treats the kids like his granddaughters. Burl taught you, as a daughter, taught me as a son, or and taught talked to our kids like they were his grandkids.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's when you get a stepfather that really is overbearing. I've had a couple of those as well, because my mother, as you know, was married several times.
Yeah.
That really creates an environment in your life that just downright sucks.
Yeah. It
I
really does.
mean,
And you really, in this movie, you really, you know, I guess you kind of, at least for me, there was only a very short time that I was like, okay, Angus, stop being such a little, what's
butthead.
the word? Yeah, butthead. There you go. I was about to say something else. Stop being such a butthead. But it didn't last very long. I immediately, or pretty quickly, kind of found, oh, okay, I started empathizing with him, and I started, I was very cognizant that there was something more to him, and it was very sad. And I was right. But they let you, I think they let you feel for him pretty quickly without really knowing his whole story.
Well, exactly. I mean, you kind of resonate with him a little bit in the beginning, and in actuality, the five kids in totality, I think, ended up. It's an all boys school, by the boarding school, by
Hmm.
the way. It's not. There's no women there. There's no female there,
No.
and
Hmm.
it's they all are prepping for college, within the boarding school. So they're working on getting into college, and then of course Hunham's a hard ass teacher, and he's one of those
Hmm.
that But what you learn to find is a little more of the reasoning why he is
Yeah.
such a hard ass and why he is the way he is. But
Hmm.
you'll find a very pleasing end to this
Yeah.
in all regards. I think
It's very touching.
very touching
Makes me cry. I'm almost crying now.
in all
So
aspects.
if you like those movies where there's a lot of comedy but some drama, and then at the end is going to make you cry, this is a movie for you because it's got it all.
It does, and realistically, I think that it also creates an environment for us to understand ourselves and other people, as in, we really don't know what's going on in other people's lives,
Yeah. So
and be
be
open,
open, and not don't judge too quickly. Yeah.
because it's that old cliche, walk a mile in my shoes.
Hmm.
I think
And then there's well, at least one character I can think of that just It really is from beginning to end. Yeah, he doesn't change. He is a butthead. He's more than a butthead.
Well, and there's
So
other familiar
sometimes
faces.
you judge him right immediately. That's just what happens.
Exactly. And there are other familiar faces in here that, we'll know. Tate Donovan is one of my, I was introduced to him in one of my favorite movies. Love Potion #9 was my first
Mine too.
introduction to Tate Donovan. But
Hmm.
from that perspective, we've seen him in several other ones. And I almost didn't recognize him in this one, actually.
The only reason I knew it was him is because I saw his name in the opening credits, and I was like, "Oh, good, Tate Donovan's in this movie." And I was looking for him, and then when he shows up,
Yeah.
I was like, "Wait a minute!" And I had to really, really look at the screen because it I would have never known.
Well, then there's also, some of the other individuals that we know would be, not Paul Giamatti, but there's Dominic Sessa plays Angus Tully. The Divine Joy Randolph is Mary Lamb, as I said. Carrie Preston
Hmm.
plays Miss Lydia Crane. Brady Hepner plays Teddy Kuntz. Teddy Kuntz is a little, you, anybody that's gone to high school will recognize somebody like Teddy
Hmm.
Kuntz.
Yep.
He's one of those guys that you just want to lock him in a
Yep.
locker.
Yep.
Not that
Yep.
I'm a bully. I'm not a bully. Not a bully.
No,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
No, not a great kid.
Ian Dolly plays Alex Allerman. Jim Kaplan plays Yi Chun Park. Um, he's both of those individuals look way too young to be where they're at.
Yeah,
To be
it
honest
was
with you, they
kind
look
of
real out
shocking.
of place.
Hmm.
And then Andrew Garman plays Dr. Hardy Woodruff. Neham Garcia, Danny, and then Stephen Thorne plays Thomas Tully. And Thomas Tully, Mr. Tully, is is Angus's father.
Hmm.
So it's kind of one of those things that most of these individuals you've seen in other. You'll recognize their faces. You'll recognize them as
Yeah,
being an actor someplace. So I'm glad they were
yeah,
able to put some familiar faces in this movie. It kind of allowed me, at least from my perspective, allowed me to enjoy the movie a little more because some familiarity here. I know this person, I know this
hmm,
person, I know that person, kind of a deal. But some of these
yeah.
people that I'd never seen before, I don't believe I've ever seen Divine before or Dominic.
No, I
And
know. I know that this nomination and win was the first one for Divine. I don't remember seeing her in other things, but
yeah, I don't
I
remember
mean,
anything. But I'm sure she
good,
has been.
good for her. First nomination and first win. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, she did a great job.
kind of
I
works.
totally see why she won. Yeah,
And it's and the movies. It moved pretty. In my opinion, it moved pretty quickly. It
it
carried
did.
us along very quickly. It
Hmm.
didn't stall. It
Hmm.
didn't. We didn't have any really long lag points. I
No,
didn't feel.
I think, like I said earlier, I think that they unraveled everybody's life story at the right time.
And they
They
wrapped it
were
up.
intertwined. Yeah, they were intertwined, and as they were unraveling them, you'd find out something about one, and then find out something about the other, and it was like you just find out a little bit of each of their lives, but right at the right times. It was really good.
Exactly. I think that the guy that wrote it, Alexander Payne is one that wrote it. Excuse me, directed by Alexander Payne, and then David Hemmingson wrote it. And Alexander Payne, he's done other things. So Alexander Payne has been a producer for like 18 different things: L Train, Hung, Breaking Night, The Descendants as a producer,
Mm.
Sideways, King of California, The Savages, Gray Matters, The Assassination of Richard Nixon, Willie Nelson, The Big 6-0. He has directed 15 different things, actually. Paris, I Love You, Sideways, About Schmidt, which I think that was with Here's Johnny. Isn't it a shame we
Oh,
forget these?
Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, major actors. Can't
Oh, I
remember
don't
them because
remember that he was in that.
he directed Election with
Mm.
Reese Witherspoon
Reese
way back
Witherspoon
when.
was a good movie.
Citizen Ruth,
Hmm.
Inside Out 3. He
Well,
directed
Sideways. You said Sideways too, right?
Sideways and
That was
Inside
a Paul.
Out.
That was a Paul Giamatti movie.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
He did Inside Out 3, Downsizing, The Descendants. We already said that. So,
Hmm.
he's been around for a little bit. I think he did a really good job in directing this movie.
Yeah,
I
it's
commend him
good.
on that, and it was written extremely well. From
Hmm.
my personal opinion, I think that that's a two thumbs up. If I could do thumbs, I would do thumbs.
It's definitely two thumbs up. Yeah,
But
and I mean, the Oscar nomin have the Oscar nominations come out yet?
the Oscar nominations are not, but they're about
Okay.
to. People are already doing some Oscar
Mm.
buzz. The movie
Yeah,
might catch some Oscar buzz.
I would think so.
I think
Yeah.
so too. I think
Hmm.
that it really the acting was good. I think the
Hmm.
cinematography was great.
Yeah.
The direction was fantastic because there was no lag in my opinion. The movie carried
Hmm.
itself through. It also wrapped
Yeah.
everything up in the end, which I thought was like
Yep.
brilliant.
Yeah.
And it wrapped it up for
You
the
kind of
main.
you kind of don't at the end like those movies. I can't stand those movies where you kind of have to you decide the ending in your head. I hate those kind of movies.
Yeah,
Um, this one, even though every character they could be doing something. I mean, you kind of know what they're all doing, but if you think about it, it's like, well, that could be happening with them, but maybe not. But it's okay because you really kind of believe what's going on with them at the end.
exactly. They
Yeah.
resolved it. So, what's your opinion? Yes? No?
Oh,
Maybe?
love. Yes, 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 yes,
Yes, yes, yes.
yes,
Yes. You're supposed
yes.
to slam the table and go, yes, yes,
No,
yes.
no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. Thank
Speaking of
you.
movies,
Hmm. Hmm.
classic all-time scene.
Classic
Uh,
scene.
I would say absolutely yes. You need to watch this movie. It's on. If you subscribe to Peacock, it's on Peacock for free. You can rent
Hmm.
it on, I think, on Amazon Prime, and I think you can rent it on like Vudu and places like that, or buy it, whichever you want to do.
Yeah.
But definitely worth watching. Go see
Hmm.
it. Called The Holdovers. It is a
Hmm.
Christmas movie, but I
Hmm.
think it's a movie that sets the stage for not just Christmas, but life in general.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is what I think.
It takes place at Christmas, and Christmas is kind of the reason that they end up in the place they ended up in. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
in
don't think it's
reality.
just Christmas. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So this is one more thing before you go, Diane, and you've got some special days we're gonna talk about.
it's just the national day for today. It's National Sunday Supper Day, so I hope everyone's going to enjoy that. And Ratification Day, which I wasn't sure about, but Ratification Day on January 14th annually recognizes the act that officially ended the American Revolution.
Well, hot damn.
Um, the day commemorates the ratification of the Treaty of Paris on January 14th, 1784, at the Maryland State House in Annapolis, Maryland, by the Confederation Congress.
Very
That's kind of
cool.
cool. And then there was, oh, National Dress Up Your Pet Day. Oh, we
We
need
should
to
have
do that.
dressed up Charlie.
I know. I didn't know. And then National Hot Pastrami Sandwich Day, which I don't eat. I don't eat pastrami. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever
Um,
eaten. I think when I was a kid, I ate pastrami,
yeah.
and I don't even remember if I like it.
Oh.
But
Well,
now that
I'm,
I'm
I'm
vegan,
sure there's people out there that do.
well,
So,
yeah, and now that
yeah.
but I think maybe I did. I think I used to like a hot pastrami with cheese and onions, and yeah, I think I
I
used to.
think I think that's usually something you put sauerkraut on, maybe. Maybe not.
Maybe, yeah.
Pastrami is usually made from beef. Others make their pastrami sandwich with pork, mutton, or turkey. Um,
I think my dad used to do it with beef, but we used to put onions and cheese on it, and yeah,
it's a Romanian Jewish specialty. Huh,
which is bizarre
interesting.
because we aren't Romanian and Jewish.
Oh, but I'm sure you don't have to be that to eat it, I don't think.
No, I don't think you do
Um,
either.
I think mostly what I never liked about it is that it's on rye bread, and I can't stand rye bread
Well, see, that's probably why my father made it all the time. Because
because he liked
not
rye.
Burl, but my father
Right.
loved dark
Loved rye.
rye
Right.
bread, which I
Oh, oh,
hated as a kid. I
oh,
still
it's
hate now.
so bad. I just don't know. Anyway,
So anyway,
and then I just want to say tomorrow is the Emmys, so I'm very excited for that. I love
so
the Emmys.
next week we'll do an Emmy show.
Maybe.
Maybe an Emmy show,
Sure.
maybe another show, Emmy follow-up show, or yeah. No, and I think
Yeah.
our next one's going to be an Oscar show. So we're going to do an Oscar thing. We're going to try to watch as many Oscar movies as we can, like we did last year, and then we're going to
Yeah.
give you the skinny on all the Oscar shows next time. So, anyway, one more thing before you all go. Have a great day. Have a great week, and thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, and like us.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to this episode of One More Thing Before You Go. Check out our website at